careful.
I don't know how to make a boat. I lied. Alright guys, it's here. My most anticipated movie of the year. Stephen King's adaptation of It. Directed by Andres Muschietti, starring Jane Lieberher, Finn Wolfhard, Jeremy Ray Taylor, Chosen Jacobs, Sophia Lillis, Wyatt Oleff, Jack Dylan Grazer, and Bill Skarsgård. Now this is a story about a group of friends known as the Losers Club in a small town of Derry, Maine that back in the summer of 1989 came together because each were having individual experiences with something they would come to find out has been terrorizing their town for 100 years, and they would come to call this It. Now before I go any further, I flat out loved this movie.
I gave it a 10! A 10! A fucking 10!
Everything about it. There was a reason why I named every single member of the Losers Club in the very beginning. Standouts across the board. Not one weak spot. I was so impressed with what they were able to put chemistry-wise on screen that to me, yes, it was a horror movie, but at the same time, it was coming of age. It was... I've never laughed and been terrified so much in the same film as much as I've been in this. Like, I tell people all the time, it's horrifying. There are some horrifying moments in this, but at the same time, it's hilarious. All these amazing scenes where you're at the edge of your seat. There's not one break in this where you kind of like sit back. You're either laughing, you're screaming, the tension, you're terrified. But what I'm saying is, every time you get taken from a horror aspect of this film, you get pushed back into this comedic and then pushed right back into the horror aspect. It never stops. It just goes and goes and goes. And that's kudos to Andres Muschietti and what this crew were able to put together. Flat out, let's start with the camera work. Those are some of the best shots I've seen. And the best part about it, he did a lot of low-angle tracking shots. Basically give you the POV of these kids. And that's another thing, too. The way you were able to see this film from a kid's point of view is what made the book so great, because it's not about the adults, it's about everything that these kids are going to in this small group. The chemistry between these kids and thinking that this is their first movie together, you would never believe that because they look like they've been doing this for a long time. And that's credit to Andy Muschietti and just having these guys come together, bond over, I guess, how many years they've been in production. But you saw it on screen, you felt it on screen, and that was the best thing. My favorite aspect from the Stephen King's book were the kids, and that's what this movie put across. The POV of these kids was great. So every time an adult had a scene or came across in a scene, or you just passed by an adult in the background, keep your ears open. No spoilers, but just keep your ears open for a certain TV show that's playing in the background. And that's the one thing I caught every single time there was an adult scene, is that you had this certain dialogue happening in the background. Keep your ears open. It's really fun to listen to. And that's another thing. The POV of the kids. You go to a grocery store when you're little with your mom, and you're sitting at the register, and there's someone bagging up your groceries, an adult working the register. You always felt nervous and uneasy about them. And that's what you got with every adult character in this. From the pharmacist, to Eddie's mother, to even Bill's dad. Like, all of them were off and uneasy, and just had this just weird, it's as if they weren't there. I guess it's hard to say. It's like, it's almost like they weren't there. They were just these shells that a kid would see in an adult. And that's what I loved about this, because they really dove into the kid aspect. But back to these kids. Like, I can't give them enough credit between the one-on-one moments they have that might feature a certain band that are hilarious, that runs through the entire story, or just the group and their first encounter with Pennywise. Let's talk about Pennywise.
Hiya, Georgie.
Bill Skarsgård. I was nervous. I mean, I was so anticipating this film, but it was one of those things where the trailers and the marketing were so good that you couldn't help but feel that you were going to be let down. And guess what? Bill Skarsgård didn't let you down at all. That was an amazing, terrifyingly comedic, the mannerisms, the voice, this guy nailed it. And I don't want to compare 1990s Pennywise Tim Curry to 2017's Bill Skarsgård, because guess what? It's Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger. Both amazing in their own ways, but two completely different beings. I don't want to put... They don't deserve to be compared whatsoever. Tim Curry did great. Bill Skarsgård did great. And that's all I got to say is this guy, from the makeup to the voice, my goodness, I was terrified. And this guy is going to make Pennywise iconic once again. Not in the comedic sense of you got Prince Albert and Ken, you better let him out. Like, this scared you to the core. And at the same time, you kind of laughed at him sometimes. It was like the weirdest back and forth between horror and comedy that just was so intertwined perfectly that I cannot tell you enough the great things about this film. Like, back to that scene with the first encounter with the Losers Club. Wow. It's everything you could ever want out of that you would read in the book, but it was on screen. It was perfect. Like, the weird movements down to Jack Dylan Grazer. That, like, I hate to single out these kids. Jack Dylan Grazer, Finn Wolfhard, Sophia Lillis. Bravo. Those three, to me, were the standouts. Oh, you know, set aside Pennywise because he's the obvious standout. But like I said, don't expect to get tons and tons of clown. That's something that I give a lot of credit to Andres Muschietti. He was able to take fears from the 50s and update them to the 80s. Because the things that he was able to scare these kids with and these experiences each of these kids had with Pennywise the Clown, horrifying. Horrifying, each differently in their own ways. And when they finally come together and realize that this has been happening for a long, long time, it is so worth it. I just can't give this movie enough credit. Now, I'm definitely going to be overpraising it sometimes. Is there flaws? Absolutely. There's flaws in every film. There's some scenes, one scene in particular with a song in the background that took me out. But other than that, you get these great bonding chemistry montages with great music in the background. And these kids being kids. Like, I believed every second that this was a group of kids that were actually friends. And that's credit to everybody in this production. Andres and the writers were able to take some of the best aspects of the book and leave out some of the ones you just absolutely didn't need. There was a lot of people going into this film worried about certain scenes from the book that you might get in this film just because it's rated R. And guess what? You didn't get them. You didn't need them. And let's forget about that. They're in the book. Leave them in the book. They were able to put across this heartfelt, terrifying film about a group of friends that you could pick each one of these members of the Losers Club, and guess what? You either were one or you knew someone that was a member of this group. And that's what I loved about it, because it was so believable to me with these kids and what was put on screen. It blows me away. It blows me away. And at the same time, I had one of the worst theater experiences I've ever had in a theater. I had a guy behind me being the comedic commentary for him and his girlfriend. And guess what? As soon as this film hit, and it started from the credits, the beginning, which that opening scene, wow, my goodness. I completely forgot about everyone around me and was just me and the Losers Club fighting Pennywise. And that's all I could ask for with this. I've been waiting for this for a really long time, and guess what, guys? It blew me away. Is everyone going to love it? Nope. But guess what? I did, and I hope you do too. And do me a favor. Stop watching this right now. Go to your closest theater and go support this film. Because guess what? To me, this transcended the genre. This movie deserves to be seen by everybody. Be scared. You should be scared. It's fun. Like, this is something that I would love to go see with a group of friends, whether I was 12 years old or 30. I want to take a bunch of people. I want to go experience this film over and over again. I hope you do too. Other than that, guys, those are my thoughts. Eventually, I'll have a more spoilerific one. But I want everyone to enjoy this film, because guess what? I did. Your Movie Squad, I'm TJ. Have a good one, guys.